Hey folks, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, I am Julianne Hoore, the bearded bombshell of the Scottish drag scene. Today we're going to look at the brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 and the Runway Trained for Days. First queen up is Denali, and she is inspired by her Mexican heritage here, this Quetzalcoatl look and the Quetzal bird. Quetzalcoatl themselves is an ancient deity from Mesoamerican culture and known as kind of the feathered serpent, and these beautiful colours are actually reminiscent of the Quetzal bird with its little mohawk. And Denali did this look so well. I think it looks phenomenal. There's a couple of elements that kind of throws me off. Like there's like 3 shades of green in there and it's kind of looking quite blocky, and I think she could have separated that up a little bit with the red and blue elements. So I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity to really finesse the look, maybe get like a more snatched silhouette if she put red and blue feathers down the corset. I think that would have been really, really good and just made that look like the pinnacle of drag. Some of the shades of the hair work really well. There is green elements of the hair. There's the exact same shade of the feathers on the corset and the train. But those are just the little details that I think would have just taken a look a little bit further. But nevertheless, Denali had me gagged. Next in is Olivia Lux, and Olivia is fastly becoming one of my favourite queens. Her looks and her point of view are so fantastic. She takes this Regency meets Rococo look and just makes it so draggy, and I am absolutely in love with it. Especially as she's taking menswear styles as well from kind of the Regency and the Rococo period, as I mentioned, and merge them together with a sort of Baroque aesthetic. It's strange merging all those together, but it works really well in this look. And my favourite part is actually the train itself. She really thought about that and has like the beautiful gold trim and the tails of the coat. Oh, it looks so great. And then she has this beautiful harp and beautiful gold eye makeup that just pulls the entire look together. If she wanted to make it really campy, she could have had those little twists on the side of her hair, but you know what, I am not complaining because this look was music to my ears. Consider this a gag. Next thing we have is Elliot with 2 T's. And to be honest, this is it's a good look. I like the catsuit that she's got on, but the train seems like an afterthought and really tacked on, and not really part of the look. It seems like the catsuit she's got is something that she already had in her wardrobe, and she's like, oh, let's put a train on this, it'll be fantastic. And yeah, it's nice, but I really don't feel it goes together with the look. It's not a cohesive look, say like Olivia's, by any stretch of the imagination. It'd be nice that if she had some of that fabric from the catsuit and had it on the train of the skirt, but you get what you're given. She knows how to swish on the runway because she was pulling that train in all directions. And you know what? It still had me gagged. Next in is our Mackie Queen, being the only Empress of Drag. I'm going to say this is going to be probably one of the most memorable looks of the entire season already. Call me out when it gets to the last episode and we'll double check that. This look was so stunning. I honestly was so gagged. I thought this was the most phenomenal look I've seen in such a long time from many drag queens. She had such an encrusted dress, the 2 dragons perched on her shoulders. The silhouette was amazing. She had a gold trim going right down the centre of the dress all the way to the floor, so it made her look nice and tall. If I was going to really nitpick the scales that come out from the dress in the back, I wish there was a little bit more variation to that they were like slightly larger at the top and then got smaller as it went down the train. But you know what, that's me being really nitpicky. She styled this look so incredibly well. The hair looks like a Wigs by Golgay hair, but she shows another one on her social media that she says she wished she could have got ready for the runway. I actually prefer the hair that she had on the runway. I think it really worked well with the styling and the whole aesthetic. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoy Kimora's look, and it's a total gag. Next in is Simone, looking so stunning and such an iconic piece as well. There's so many iconic looks this season with these queens. It is honestly such a joy to watch. Now Simone is doing a look with a do-rag on, which is of course the headpiece that she is wearing, and honestly it is so stunning and such a great way to celebrate Black culture. Do-rags were first worn by slaves in the 19th century, and of course have become a staple piece of Black culture, and have been quite controversial as some schools have tried to ban the wearing of a do-rag in schools. Of course, in the States, where you can wear wherever you wear. If you're in the UK, obviously we normally wear uniforms here, but in the States they've tried to ban that. There's been quite some controversy. It's part of Black culture and Black heritage, and is even just sometimes used to keep hairstyles in place. But seeing a Black queen just celebrate her culture like this is so fantastic. And when they say Rihanna should be wearing like a do-rag in the next couple of months, she actually wore one on the cover of the May 2020 British Vogue cover. But Simone did this so fantastic and really made the do-rag the centre stage of the look. The tracksuit that she's got on is not particularly special in any way. I wouldn't want it to be either. I want that do-rag to be, personally, the star of the show, and she made sure it was. The colours itself work harmoniously together, that light blue and light pink, so I thought it was so stunning. Simone, absolutely, hands down, a gag. Next then is we have Lala Ree in this head to toe leopard print. There's bits of this I like and bits of this I would change up a little bit if it was myself wearing it. First off, I don't think she needed to take the train off. To be honest, the theme for the runway is trains for days, so I would have kept that on. But I mean, what she could have done is exposed a bit more of the legs, so she could have had the train sit slightly further back, so you can see like the top bit of her thigh with the thigh high boots end. And I think that would have kind of like amped up the sexiness of it, despite the fact she's pretty much head to toe covered in leopard print. And I do like the tailoring elements mixed with that kind of puffy sleeve that she's got on, and then the tight thigh high boots. I think she's really thought about the silhouette here really well, and it's really quite cool. Although I have some reservations about this look, I am still gagged. Next onto the runway we have is Utica in this Carol Burnett Gone with the Wind inspired fantasy. Of course, Carol Burnett did a spoof of Gone with the Wind called Went with the Wind, in which at one point she wears this huge curtain rod with curtains as a gown, which is so hysterical. Carol Burnett is hysterical, and Utica's really taken it but really elevated the actual look of it. Yeah, it is pretty much the exact same in terms of the style, but it actually looks really glamorous. Those fabrics just shine so beautifully, and then the trim on the back as well, where you see it, it looks so stunning. And it actually, I thought it was great. Of course, if anyone remembers, there was a season 8 runway in which the queens had to do a Gone with the Wind challenge and made looks out of curtains, and that spawned the beginning of Purse Verse with Bob the Drag Queen. Although Utica pretty much copied the look, she definitely took it to new heights and still had me gagged. Next up we have is Rosé wearing this blue suit, which I think is really beautiful, and is again giving me Mugler vibes. Mugler is such an inspiration to drag queens, like it's not a surprise whatsoever. He contours the silhouette so wonderfully. Obviously she's taken it for the Trains for Days runway and added a whole bunch of tulle to it. Now, in comparison to Elliot with 2 T's, who didn't really merge the train with the actual outfit that they had, Rosé of course has tulle running up the sleeves of the jacket and then down into the train, which I thought was really, really well thought out, and again just made it more of a cohesive look. I can kind of understand Michelle's critique of it, that it does sort of look plonked on, but in comparison to some other looks, not as much as by any stretch of the imagination, such as Elliot's. And that suit was so beautiful, especially with the silver lapels, that it still has me gagged. Next, in celebrating trans pride, is Gottmik wearing this blue and pink gorgeous outfit. I think this is really quite beautiful. It's simplistic in elements, but really gives me a sort of old Hollywood glamour. It really makes me think of a specific scene in Singing in the Rain with Gene Kelly and Sid Charisse, in which the fabric is like trailing in the wind and they're dancing, and it's so beautiful. The colours are reminiscent of it as well. And I'm not sure if that was a reference for Gottmik, but it's just given the vibes, especially with the hair as well, giving kind of a coiffed Marcel Hollywood glam look as well. So I was totally blown away. And then the fact that she had a blinged out leaf blower as well to go with the look and blow around that tulle Now, it was actually meant to be her sheer runway. Now, as the sheer runway was the week before with the B Squad, she was kind of free to use this look, which means you clearly preferred this over to what she originally had for the runway. So I'm excited to see what that was. Nevertheless, she had me blown away and totally gagged. Next in is Tina Burner as the train conductor and the railway. Yeah, not such a fan of this look. I really like the idea of going literal with the idea of train, but I don't think it was really well executed. The train tracks that she has as her train doesn't really give any particular impact because the conductor suit that she's got on is so bright in comparison that it just steals the show, and it's taking you, like, you can't even see the train for it. Like, it's so distracting. And the whole idea is the train is the category. And I think that should be part of the emphasis of it as well, to be perfectly honest. Then on the suit, she has all this tulle coming down from the sleeves. Why, may I ask? Is that meant to be the steam from the train? If so, then it should be coming out of your head, perhaps. Yeah, I didn't think it worked particularly well, so I like the idea of it, and it's given me campy comedy for sure. But I'm left wanting something else instead. I wonder how she could have done it better. I'm not quite sure. Nevertheless, this look, unfortunately, it's a hag. Next thing we have is Joy J, and immediately when I saw this look, I was like, ugh, what's it meant to be? The jacket that she has on is really long and really boxy, so it doesn't really do anything for her. And then of course she has these big boots on, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, what are you doing? You need to really refine your aesthetic, Joy. There's elements of your drag that I really love, but this just was not working for me. And then she turns around and she's got this big, huge tongue. And I was like, oh wow, that's great. I love it from the back. Heard that one before. But the front is giving me not even a story. I was going to say a entirely different story, but it's not giving me anything really. She's got these visors on as well. I'm just like, what is this look? Where's the relation from the front to the back? I really wish she kind of maybe played up kind of more facial features, eyes, or I don't know, other things to go on the front, because it did nothing for me. I do like how the tongue was pierced. I thought that was kind of clever, again, camping it up even further. And from the back, it's a total gag. But overall, unfortunately, it has to be hagged. Next in is Candy Muse. Now, I actually rather like this look. I love the red colour that she had on. It's one of my other favourite colours other than pink. And I thought she'd done the look kind of overall really quite well. I think for any other look, it would have been a gag. I actually think it also would have really worked for her vampy look as well. I think that in particular, considering her actual vampy look was let's be real, a hag, it needed more vimp. I think this look would have been far better and far superior for it. But of course she has this issue where her corset's showing through underneath the bodysuit. And again, just like I've said in my previous video about Tace and her bodysuit showing through, sometimes putting on the corset first and then body former, pads, then tights in that order, you can hide that. So I'm not sure if she really got this look well fitted before the show. I'm also particularly curious to know what her first choice is going to be. If she said it wasn't going to work, what was it? Did it not have a train either? Was it not long enough? Did it not fit for some reason? I'm very curious. As I said, I think if this was used for her vampy look, I would totally gag this. But for a train's runway, it wasn't enough. The train wasn't long enough, and it's unfortunately a hag. And next up we have is Tamisha Iman and a look, of course, that she made herself. And I actually really like this look. It's fairly simple. Again, we're going to compare to Elliot, unfortunately. The look she's made in mind with a train to go with it. The fabric is all the same. It's a head to toe look. The ruffles at the front of in the waist, I think look really sad there. And I don't think they needed to be there. I think the ruffles could have started from where the train comes from. And she could have really exaggerated that, because for me, the train wasn't big enough. I think there could have been more layers, especially with the tulle. You could have built up the layers of tulle along the along the edge of the train to really give it more kind of volume and kind of more impact. If you took the jumpsuit alone, it would have looked rather pedestrian, and this is the struggle that I have with Tamisha's drag, is some of it looks so accessible, then it is really well made, she knows her body, and she does give the theme. So I think this week I'm still going to give her a gag. This week we're losing our Mackie princess, Kimora Hall. It's such a shame to see her go. She has some amazing looks, but you can just tell, I think she would have maybe suited better in the next season, in season 14, maybe 15, get more performance experience, because she just wasn't quite ready for it. Absolutely love her. Make sure to go check her out on all social media and give her some love and support. For Gaggy Skag, it has to be going to our eliminated queen, Kimora Hall. This look was incredible, iconic, and entirely legendary. Honestly, I am still stunned at how gorgeous that look was. Such a head-to-toe masterpiece in drag. And you know what? Kimora, you deserved it. Gaggiest gag. Let me know in the comments down below who was your gaggiest gag from the episode. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press that like button down below, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. If you want to check out more of me, make sure to do so on all social media at Julianne Hoore. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, folks.